chocolate chip cookies. Ooh, it's going to be a superfood, but I know. I'm sorry, Georgia, but I gotta put our state nut. Isn't there anything I can eat? Yes, olives. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Gut Instincts. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Gundry, and I'm excited to share some insight on a topic you asked for. Today, we're talking about snacks. Who doesn't love a little treat here and there to enjoy? While it may seem harmless, over time, certain snacks can take a toll on your gut. I'll be ranking these tasty snacks from S to F. S stands for superfood, and F means it belongs in the trash. Now, before we begin, make sure to tap that subscribe button. Let's dive in. Granola. Folks, this is maybe one of the most lethal snacks you can possibly consume, even if it says heart healthy or organic. Why? The first or second ingredient is sugar in some form or another. Usually, the first ingredient is oats. Now, here's the problem. If you live in America, almost all of our oats, even the organic ones, test positive for glyphosate, Roundup. Almost all the oats test positive for an herbicide that is banned by the EPA, and it's used to spray on oats so that they don't grow very tall, so that they can be harvested better. Finally, oats are pure sugar. The way you fatten a horse for winter is to give them oats. Throw your oatmeal your granola, and for that matter, your oatmeal, in the trash. It's a big F. Well, how about peanuts? Peanuts. Who doesn't love eating goober peas? Yeah, I went to medical school at Georgia. It's the peanut state. I have to tell you, peanuts are one of the highest lectin-containing foods that have ever been found. They are not a nut. They're a bean. They're a legume. And interestingly enough, roasting peanuts actually increases the lectin content. So I'm sorry, Georgia, but I gotta put our state nut as an F. Forgive me. Trail mix. So the reason we all love trail mix is because it's, number one, loaded with sugar. Admit it, that's why you like it. You want that sugar kick while you're out hiking around the hills. But warning, trail mix is not a snack while you're sitting on your ass watching TV. And that's when most people are consuming this. Trail mix, even if it might have a few healthy ingredients, which it usually doesn't, belongs, I'll give it a D. Maybe you'll have it on a hike. Let's be careful out there with yogurt. Now, first of all, you'll see that this says Greek yogurt. I hope you realize Greek yogurt doesn't come from Greece. Greek yogurt is yogurt that's made here that's allowed to lose some of its water by dripping off. So it's firmer and has more protein. Yogurt is made from A1 cows in this country. And A1 casein is a really lectin-like nasty troublemaker for your gut. So please, if you're going to have yogurt, have sheep yogurt or goat yogurt or water buffalo yogurt. They are available. They're easier to find. Please don't buy them sweetened. Put allulose in them. Greek yogurt is an F. Sheep and goat yogurt and buffalo yogurt or even coconut yogurt is a yes. Pickles. Pickles are cucumbers. I can't tell you how many of my patients, when we test them for food sensitivities, react to the lectins in cucumbers. But fermenting pickles, true fermentation of pickles, will destroy most of those lectins. There are bacteria in pickle juice that are actually really good for you and support your microbiome. But you gotta read the label. There are very, very few true fermented pickles in the United States. So if they're fermented, I'm going to give them a C, but most of them ought to be in the D or F. String cheese. Who doesn't love string cheese? It's mozzarella cheese. In Italy, mozzarella cheese is made from water buffalo. buffalo mozzarella. It has no relationship to the mozzarella cheese that you and I enjoy in our string cheese here. These are made from casein A1 cows, and they're not good for you in the least. So, if you want to get a ball of buffalo mozzarella, you can find it at Costco. You can find one that comes from Uruguay, from water buffalo, called Boof, B-U-F. You can find that at Whole Foods. That's perfectly fine. But string cheese, an F. Hard-boiled eggs. Now, there's a great snack. Now, I'm showing you this picture because most of you, when you open your hard-boiled egg, don't see this beautiful bright orange yolk looking back at you. That's because most of our chickens are not fed what they're designed to eat. But if you can find pastured eggs, if you can find omega-3 eggs, you're much better off. This is much better for you. And they're actually a pretty doggone good snack. Having said that, many of my autoimmune patients initially react to both the white and the yolk of eggs. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a B. Otherwise, it would be definitely an A. But I just unfortunately see this a number of times with my patients. Now, here's another great idea: dried fruit. Number one, fruit has been bred for sugar content. When you dry the fruit, you've now lost all the water that was in that fruit. So now you have a concentrated sugar bomb. On top of that, many dried fruits are actually coated with sugar. That's why you love it. But dried fruit, and I see some of my very well-meaning patients early on when we see them, they're dried fruit lovers, and they have the dried fruit in their trail mix. And we see it on their blood work. They're insulin resistant. They have high triglycerides. So dried fruit, give dried fruit the boot. Oh no. I used to go through packages of Saltine Crackers. I mean, what's not to like? They're salty, they're crisp, they're, low in calorie. Saltines, I see this all the time. People are trying to eat healthy and eat low calorie, and it shows up every time on their blood work. It's a triple threat of badness down in the F. Isn't there anything I can eat? Yes, olives. Believe it or not, olives have their own microbiome that forms a biofilm on the outside of the olive. When you cure olives, it turns out that biofilm is incredibly good for your gut. And who would have guessed that the reason that you should be eating olives is because you're actually going to get an important dose of very important bacteria that improves your own gut microbiome and your brain health. So if you're gonna do a snack, olives are the first superfood. Knock on wood, I've yet to see any of my patients react to olives as a food sensitivity. Okay, how about a protein bar? My wife and I have great fun going through the aisles of grocery stores and Costco and Trader Joe's and Walmart, looking up and down the aisles at the protein bars. Plant protein bars, the animal protein bars, the whey protein bars. Unfortunately, number one, most of these are sugar bombs. Number two, most of them are plant proteins like pea protein or soy protein, which are lectin bombs. Number three, if they don't already have a lot of sugar, they're using artificial sweeteners, particularly sucralose, which is Splenda. And as you know, if you want to destroy your microbiome, get yourself some Splenda. It is so unusual to find a safe protein bar. Good luck out there, but most protein bars, there are a couple, and they're in my books, but most of them are Ds. Let's take a quick break to test your knowledge on chocolate chip cookies. Ooh. Here are 2 facts and 1 lie about chocolate chip cookies. Can you guess which one is the lie? Number 1, the first chocolate chip cookie was made by accident. Number 2, the world's biggest chocolate chip cookie weighed 10,000 pounds. Number 3, the chocolate chip cookie is Massachusetts' official state cookie. Are you ready? The answer is number 2. The world's largest chocolate chip cookie weighed 40,000 pounds. Well, thankfully, the one we have here today is a little lighter and easier to manage. Chocolate chip cookies can be healthy. In fact, I have a phenomenal recipe for them in my book. If you're interested in learning more, check out my chocolate chip recipe here. So here's the deal. If you're going to use my chocolate chip cookie recipe, it's going to be a superfood. But I know that most of you are going to hear chocolate chip cookie and see superfood. That's not going to work. It's way down on the bad stuff. Well, now how about beef jerky? Let me give you a little recap about beef jerky. If an animal protein is fermented, is treated with bacteria to preserve it, as most traditional sausages and meats and prosciutto and most traditional jerky is made, then it can actually be a very beneficial health food. Why? If you've read my books or listened to me, you know that beef, lamb, and pork actually have a really mischievous sugar molecule. That sugar molecule is called Nu-5GC that we make antibodies to, that binds to the wall of our gut, to the lining of our blood vessels, to our blood-brain barrier, even to our joints. The important part is that bacteria in normal fermentation will eat Nu-5GC so it becomes harmless. So you gotta be careful and read how the process is done. Traditionally fermented beef jerky that doesn't have all the other crazy additives could be a pretty good food for you. And if you find the real thing, I'm going to give it an A. The same way goes for cured meats. Now, let's be clear. Most deli meats in the United States are disastrous for your health. Some of the longest living people in the world consume properly cured meats, like sausages, like prosciutto. And because the sugar molecule has been eaten by bacteria, you get this healthy dose of what are called polyamines, which really amp up your longevity. If you see the word lactic acid cultures on your cured meat, that's a very good indication that that went through the proper fermentation process. Properly fermented and cured meats, some of the longest living people use these foods. But again, if you're looking at deli meats, they're down in the F column. So buyer beware. I'm going to put pretzels and popcorn in the same category. One's made from corn, obviously, and one's usually made from wheat. These guys are sugar bombs, number one. They are lectin bombs, number two. 95% of the corn used in this country is genetically modified. Almost all corn in this country is sprayed with Roundup. They have no place in your healthy snacking choices. We'll cram them into the F section. Now, there's great alternatives. Sorghum popcorn doesn't have any lectins in it, and they're readily available. Sunflower seeds. That is not a healthy snack. Sunflowers are mostly omega-6 fats, and sunflowers actually have a really nasty lectin. I'm sorry, they're right with peanuts as one of the worst snacks that you can eat. I'm trying to get the Major League Baseball to ban sunflower seeds. I'm not going to have a chance, but we want our ball players to be healthy, and there they are spitting sunflower seeds. How about plantain chips? You'll see plantain chips are on the approved list with a catch. So plantains are a rich source of prebiotic fiber. That's the fiber that your gut buddies like. But plantain chips have become so popular that many times they've been cooked in really nasty seed oils. There's a few that have been cooked in avocado oil, a few that have been cooked in coconut oil, but most of them are in the usual suspects, like cottonseed oil, like soybean oil, like grapeseed oil, and those are not what you want. So if you can find proper plantain chips, they're actually pretty doggone good for you, with one exception. Bet you can't eat one. I see so many of my patients, knowing that there's no lectins in plantain chips, buy the correct oil ones, and then proceed to eat the entire bag. And they come in gaining weight with insulin resistance, with high triglyceride, and complain it's all because of their healthy plantain chips. Be careful, you can't eat just one. If you eat just a few and they're in the right oil, they're a really great superfood. Finally, ice cream. You scream, ice cream, we all scream for ice cream. The problem is ice cream, number one in the United States, is mostly made with casein A1 milk. Believe it or not, there are ice creams in the United States that are made with casein A2 milk. There's an ice cream maker in Detroit. There's an ice cream maker in Columbus, Ohio that use A2 milk. And I won't name names, but they still have a lot of sugar content. Interestingly, in the good old days, ice cream manufacturers like to use milk from Guernsey cows. Guernsey cows are A2 cows. They liked it because the fat content in Guernsey cows is much higher than the fat content in Holstein cows, and it gave them a creamier flavor. It was years later that they realized the true benefit was that it was casein A2 milk. So if you can find casein A2 milk ice cream, and it's out there, that's a consideration. The other thing that you should think about is there are now ice creams that are coming out with allulose as a sweetener instead of sugar or any of the fake sweeteners, which you know is off the list. There are some really good coconut ice creams that are safe, that are loaded with MCTs, and some of them are no sugar added. They use usually stevia as their sweetener, which is okay. Traditional ice cream, it's way down the list. If you can find A2 milk ice cream, you're much better off. However, you should know that I've got some great Gundry approved, good for you ice cream right here on the YouTube channel and in my books. And it's really easy to make. Okay, for a quick recap, there's a superfood, olives. They're really good for you in so many ways, besides they have olive polyphenols. If you find the right prepared meats that have been fermented, they're really good for you. Proper plantain chips in the right oil within reason are good for you. Please, please, please get the eggs that are pastured. Pickles, if you're gonna have pickles, please, it's got to be fermented. I only know of actually one company in this country who still traditionally ferments their pickles. Most of them are not. Trail mixes, they've got tons of candied dry fruit in them. The protein bars, please. We are over-proteinized in this country. I'm sorry, get over it. Americans eat double the amount of protein of any other country in the world. And guess what? We don't have bigger muscles, we have bigger guts. Chocolate chip cookie, find my recipe right here on the YouTube channel. Ice cream, find my recipe. I mean, if you find my recipe, which please do, we'll probably have a picture of it. They go way up here. My recipe. Popcorn, saltines, Greek yogurt. It doesn't come from Greece. Please, baseball, let's replace it with plantain chips. How about that? If you enjoyed this episode of Gut Instincts, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments which snack is your favorite. Remember, eat smart, feel great. I'm Dr. Gundry, and I'll see you next time. And that's my gut instinct.